Hi, I need to give you a content warning about this video about the multi-level marketing company called Juice Plus. Later on in this video, I'm going to be playing a news story about a participant that was involved in Juice Plus. Before I play that news story, I'm going to make a short video just like this, just to give you a heads up that it's coming. Please take care of yourself. Hi, I have two guests with me, as you can see, Kat Benson and also Brandy Hadfield, and we're just going to get right into this. This is going to be about the multi-level marketing company Juice Plus. And Kat, can you please introduce yourself? Let us know about your YouTube channel, everything.
Yeah. I'm a licensed registered dietitian nutritionist, and I really focus in all MLMs are bad, but I have a really big focus on helping people step away from toxic dieting culture. And that includes a lot of multi-marketing companies, the nutrition related ones, diet related ones. And so I like to break those down, discuss those, and help people to move away from feeling like they need to continue to buy these kind of supplements or any kind of unnecessary nutrition related things.
And what's your YouTube channel name?
Oh, it is, if you search Kat Benson Nutrition, it should pop up, but I think it is Unlock Nutrition with Kat Benson. It's kind of long, but yeah.
And Brandy, the one and only Brandy Hadfield. You've seen her on my channel. Maybe you are following her on Instagram, making really compelling content. And she has also written a book. So that's going to be coming out at some point. I hope sooner than later. Maybe Brandy?
I'm Brandy Hadfield, and I am a psychotherapist in supervision currently in my 4th year of training, and that's about it.
All right, so Brandy is incredible. She's written like a whole like an outline for us to follow. So I'm going to be like kind of using this, and this is going to be like primarily commentary from both Kat and Brandy. So the introduction, so it's like what is Juice Plus? What is their demographic? What is this MLM about? If people are just watching this and they're like, I've heard of this. Is it like processed vegetables and fruit? Like, what is this?
So Juice Plus is basically juiced or dried juice, essentially. So they So they promote it as 30 fruits and vegetables. At least when I was part of it, that has been like mashed, pureed, and cold temperature dried and put into capsules that you can consume. And pretty much the tagline being that bridges the gap between what you're eating and what you quote like should be eating, and getting more of those fruits and vegetables in.
So they'll also call it, like, one of the buzzwords that they've been using in recent years is functional food. So they'll call it functional food. Reps will be trained out of the gate not to call it a supplement or a vitamin, because they are, quote, better than vitamins, and they are food. And so they'll really focus on, in the United States, they have a food facts label. In Canada, they don't. But that'll be one of the things. Like, if you notice, it's a food facts label because this is food.
Well, great. Well, a lot of people confuse Juice Plus with a vitamin supplement, and yet really they're not even close to being the same thing. What makes Juice Plus different, and why does Juice Plus carry a nutrition facts label instead of a typical vitamin supplement facts label?
So what makes Juice Plus really different from vitamins out there is the fact that we are whole food based. We have our products coming straight from fruits and vegetables, and all we do is just squish them up and then take out the water, and that's what's in our products. We are in the vitamin supplement world. They do a lot of extracting of different nutrients, either vitamin C or vitamin A, and it may start as whole food, it may start as fruits and vegetables, but by the time they're finished with it, there's all kinds of residual solvents that are possible, and they're isolated nutrients that have been shown in clinical studies most recently to really not benefit the body the same way that whole food does. And it's really important for us to have a nutrition label, at least right now, because it really shows how different we are. New food in the United States is categorized as different than supplements, and we categorize ourselves as a food, and the FDA has audited our facilities and has never had a problem with our food label. Up to this point, I'm not saying that they won't ever, but up to this point, they have never had a problem with our food label. And that's because our products really do come from foods, and we don't do very much at all to change their nature.
But it is capsules, it is not juice. And they'll talk about eating my Juice Plus versus taking my Juice Plus to really push that narrative of this is bridging the gap between what we are physically able to eat and what we should be eating. The other important thing to note, however, is that in the marketing of Juice Plus, it's really pushed that you need X amount of servings of fruits and vegetables, and more so today than ever because of depletion in soil. And some things that it is a fact that the soil quality isn't as good as it was in our grandparents' day. So they'll take these nuggets and then use it as a fear to sell Juice Plus. So 1 orange today, you need 5 oranges today to equate to 1 orange that our grandmother ate. So all of this, like it's impossible. It's an impossibility. And if you're pregnant, if you're an athlete, if you need this, if that, and you need even more, you need like 20 servings or whatever. So impossible, right? That's why I recommend my patients take Juice Plus. However, then when asked by a customer, well, how many servings does it equate to? Totally different story. The whole narrative changes. So this is just something that I just want to plant.
And Kat, is it true? Is it true that 1 orange today, like 1 orange from like back in our grandparents' day, you'd need to eat 5 oranges to get the same?
Yeah, no. The soil study that they were referencing, it was showing depletion in some areas, but it was not enough. Like, for example, vitamin C and bell pepper, I think that was one of them. The amount that was still in there was still a sufficient amount. It was still a significant amount of like to consume. So that was fine. And it's not, there's also been other changes in just the crossbreeding and the vegetables being able to withstand a little bit more of like temperature changes, climate changes, water needs, and just overall the farming process of it. They're still very nutrient dense, and while there is some changes, it's the significance of it is, I think, overplayed and a little bit used for fear mongering.
Who does this company target? I mean, it sounds, surface level, it sounds pretty appealing. Like, oh, I'm missing gaps in my diet. I'm just having pizza and coffee for dinner. I'm like, if I believe, that 5 oranges, I don't want to eat 5 oranges to equate to 1 orange. Maybe I should just get into Juice Plus. Who is this company going after?
I'd say one of the key demographics is parents of young children, because they have the Children's Health Study is what they call it, which is where a parent that orders Juice Plus will get free gummies for their children. And then the study is where the reps then phone these customers to ask them questions on a survey that they are then to submit to head office. Kat, what percentage of associates do you think actually fill out that survey and send it to head office? And is the survey an accurate study?
Not accurate. And I feel like when I looked at the study, and I don't have the questions in front of me, but they felt a little bit leading. And it's really important when you have a study and when you're asking people questions, just like with any research questionnaire, and just the way that it is asked, kind of in that leading way. I know of people who were on this study who never sent in the information, who didn't see those kind of benefits that they tout for that. So yeah, it would be interesting if they did put out an actual percentage of the people who were in the study and who emailed it back, because I feel like a lot of them were the distributors. That's speculation.
I would call my customers and go through that because I'm such a good girl.
Oh, okay.
And it was more used as a client retention tool versus a study.
Because it was free for them, and then the parents would have
and then
their
they
own
made
product.
sure that I talked to them on the phone for upwards of 35 minutes, 30, however long. So then you're building that relationship, which then retains the customer. And again, you're asking them those leading questions.
What level did you get to?
SSC.
Okay, I was just SC. So that was the difference. I didn't spend that much time.
You didn't sign a covenant. Okay. So anybody with a pulse is the demographic. And basically, I've been part of events that talked about everything from pregnancy to dementia, and everything in between. And there is literally a website with the alphabet and any health concern from A to Z. Listed so that there is a anecdote to, or in the Voxer, it's encouraged if you have a prospect with anything going on and you can't find that issue. Let's say it's I have tinnitus ringing in my ears, and I look under T and there might be a tinnitus in there, but let's just say that there wasn't. Then I would go, hey, everybody, does anybody know anybody who's struggled with tinnitus? And then someone who's not even, just out of the goodness of the mission that they're part of will say, I do, or I have someone, or I have, and then they will offer themselves up to be part of a connection call where they can share their heartfelt story to convince this person with tinnitus or whatever it is that they've got, foot odor, whatever, that Juice Plus will solve all the problems. This is contrary to what the FTC states is how an ethical company should be run, making health claims. It is like a loophole. Well, I'm just sharing my experience. But these experiences are powerfully persuasive, and they bank on that to sell their products to everyone with a pulse. However, vulnerable populations, of course, are going to be more, vulnerable to being preyed upon, such as new parents like myself.
I also want to add that in addition, with the demographics, they will reach out to many health professionals. There is so many of them on the teams. Registered nurses, medical doctors, pharmacists, mental health professionals, and of course, registered dietitians as well. And that's how I was approached, from a PhD level registered dietitian. And at that time, being brand new and never having heard about multi-level marketing, I didn't know the structure, but being invited into a Zoom room full of medical doctors, pharmacists, other registered dietitians, and being really promoted this idea of being part of that community. That's something that they will do, especially for people who are like newer health professionals. They kind of build that trust by using other ones and continue to grow that.
Affinity fraud. That is called affinity fraud. Am I in that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I do remember towards the end of when I was kind of stepping away at conference, they were sharing how, or maybe it was an email, how they really wanted to shift from telling other people's stories to telling your story only. So using less of that kind of library, but that was still happening. People were still sharing those kind of snippets, those anecdotes. And they're still around. I was still able to get in that website.
Because it doesn't have the Juice Plus name on it, so
Yeah.
it can go unchecked. Nobody can find it. If you searched, the average person, the average internet sleuth would not be able to find that website.
Which leads us to the purpose of doing this video. And there's been a lot of controversy and recent changes going on with Juice Plus. And it's, considering there's 2 former Juice Plus participants, they can speak to what's been going on and perhaps help people start critically thinking and maybe even working on their own exit strategy. So Brandy, would you like to take this away? What the purpose of this video we're doing is?
Sure. So, I mean, the toughest capsule to swallow when I left was learning that all of these companies are doing the exact same things, because there's an innocence, in being recruited in and being trained and molded and shaped to believe certain things. And then, when you look at some of these things in isolation, like when I play back a memory of a trusted upline saying the key to success is to believe, and you're like, oh, how convenient. The key to success is to not question anything that's being said, because that would be sabotaging my success. How freaking convenient is that? But at the time, you're really trusting. And so to come out and to realize all of these companies are saying the same lines, they have, there are other companies that have the science, all of the things that had convinced me that this was something unique and special and important. I did believe all of the 4 beliefs, and I was afraid that if I ever got off of it, my health would suffer, everything would fall apart. To realize that was not true. I feel, even though I never wanted to name names because all of these companies are the same, so what's the point? It's just stay away from multi-level marketing. They are commercial cults. Now that people I know are coming forward with dealing with what's happening currently, I need to point out some things that are specific to this company so that people can make an informed decision, because omitting is a form of lying, because it prevents people from making an informed choice. And I feel that people have a right to make an informed choice about their futures.
Yeah, so there's been a lot more happening the last, I think, I would say, 2-3 years, especially like with this past year, I would say. And I've been out of Juice Plus for longer and have made more of that disconnect from people who used to be in there. So, but I still have some people who just, I think of this one sideline who was putting everything she had into making what was called the NMD, or National Marketing Director. And her belief was the more belief than I've ever seen someone, personal in person with MLM. And she left. She actually went to Moody for a little bit, but then she stepped away from multi-level marketing. And it was just, and I had already left. She was still trying to get the top level of Juice Plus when I had left, but to see that is really heartbreaking, because I know how much she wanted that. And I knew her, I'd met her so many times in person, and she, I even stayed at her apartment one time for an event, and these are real people. And she did not intentionally go into multi-level marketing to deceive anybody. And her belief in the product and the company and the business model was so strong. And it was not in a, I tend to put a positive spin. I'm just kind of naturally, but I really don't think that she was trying to hurt anybody. And I think that part of what she realized she would have to do would be more of outside of her character. And it's really unfortunate, because a lot of times people are sold this idea coming in, they have no idea of the things that have to be done to manipulate and to sell that dream to downline in order to make it up to the top. And I feel like the more that we can share that information with people to either get them from not joining or to start having them kind of question things a little bit more and leave, I think that that is like a moral kind of thing to do, because this is not okay. And while there can be a time and a place for something like a powdered fruits and vegetable product, in the field, in the world of nutrition, it is hardly ever an all or nothing kind of thing. There is always nuance and there's always situations and contexts where, like, for example, if somebody is not able to have accessibility to fruits and vegetables, or if they have some like challenges like with consumption or like specific, there's just so many individual reasons, but there are so many non-MLM like powdered fruits and vegetables that someone could use, and that's between them and their doctor or them and the registered dietitian. That's not going to be appropriate for everyone, and not everyone needs to have a greens powder, especially daily. I wouldn't recommend that, but in any case, if it did make sense for that context for that person, there's so many other options other than Juice Plus specifically.
Brandy, you had mentioned something when you were just speaking about, why you're making this video, and you said something about 4 beliefs. What are those 4 beliefs?
Belief in, and a delusional belief in yourself. A delusional belief.
The pillars.
Belief in the product, belief in the industry of network marketing, which actually in the beginning you're told it's not. It's borrows from the best of several business models, but that then shifts to belief in the industry. So yourself, the product, the business model, the company, but then I remember they added a 5th belief, which was your upline. How can we make this even more sticky if they don't question anything from their upline? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
The reason, why I wanted to point that out was it was just kind of embedded and it just kind of flowed with what you were talking about. Like it was so seamless. Like this is just a normal thing, but this is something that's like quite shocking. It's like, this is these central tenets of this company. That's quite big. It's like these values kept everybody together. So it sounds to me like you were, you joined Juice Plus, and then like very quickly you're taught these, and it becomes like integrated into how you view Juice Plus and your identity and your role in, helping others. Is that a fair assessment of those values or whatever, beliefs?
Yep.
I actually started leaving because I could not build the belief in the business model of the 4 pillar. It was 4 when I was in, but I had such a hard time with that, and that's what always like kept like gnawing at me, and the company too. But I had belief in myself and the product.
Back to what Kat was saying about like these are real people, etc. And also there are people that are put in front of us via video or stages who are the leaderships that we are to worship essentially and not question and follow their example. And we will in this video show a case study of just one example of a leader who was celebrated, who you will see how convincing and charismatic they are and how their story is so emotional and impactful, and where that person ended up going. And I don't think anybody within the Juice Plus company has any idea. Anybody that have asked, do you know what happened to this person? Like, no, don't know. So we will give you that just as a case study. This is an example of like these leaders who were celebrated and who you get attached to, and how they behave or move forward is a perfect like Janja Lalich things you put on the shelf example of like, oh, but we were always told that this person was, that, you know, that they were paraded around like a golden child, perfect example, and now they're being excommunicated, or now they've left and gone here, and people are making fun of them, like leaders are making fun of them. Like, were you there during the Modair mass exodus?
That was after I left.
So,
but I do remember at conferences how there would be some people who would kind of like where you could go and meet them and get their autograph. They were only known within the Juice Plus world.
Selling their books or selling their whatever swag.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're there. I was just talking about this last night, like with, you know, we'll talk about Tower Garden and how they've slowly backed away from the dumpster fire. And I remember like this person who was a big Tower Garden person who also sold a book, and you'd be at the conference that you paid to get to, and you'd be like, can I get you, you're trying to get your photo ops, can I get a picture with you?
Ritz?
Yeah, can I get a picture with you? And then he's like, so you have to buy the book, or else you feel like a giant asshole for asking him to take a picture with you. And it's like all these like little ways to just extract more and more from these people who paid to be there, to be, you know, have the honor of being in that conference center for the weekend.
What is multi-level marketing? I know if people are watching my channel, they're pretty familiar with it, but there's always new people coming in. And so welcome everyone. So what is multi-level marketing?
It's fraud.
And that's the end of the stream. Thank you very much.
Yep. Well done.
Because, you know, critical thinking assignment number 1 is look at the income disclosure statement for every single company that operates under a multi-level marketing structure, or even those who say that they don't, but you kind of have the sneaking suspicion that there are some similarities. If there isn't an income disclosure statement, then that's a huge red flag. But if there is an income disclosure statement, it might be confusing. They often are. You don't know really what you're looking at. But if you take some time, make yourself a tea, sit down and tell yourself, I'm going to figure this out, you will eventually come to the conclusion that 1% don't lose money. Most people who join a multi-level marketing opportunity pay for the rights to sell a product and end up becoming basically the most indoctrinated of all the customers, because they have to become a product of the product. And yes, of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but nobody is ever telling people who are involved, advising them with care, like, can you afford to be doing this? You know, you said that you joined because you needed to make an extra $500 a month. And I can't in good conscience tell you to come to conference and do all of these. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's actually giving them caring counsel. And that's probably because they're so thoroughly indoctrinated themselves. But it's such a gray area of at what point does the victim become the perpetrator, and at what point, like, a lot of the teachings and trainings have to do with this belief and this like very narrow, you know, don't allow negativity to come in. And often that's reality. That's actually reality coming into play that you're so trained to not look at. And that's the other reason why I speak out, because I you know, that can take a decade. That can drain you of so much and completely change the trajectory of your life forever in terms of your retirement, your children's, you know.
Yeah, it takes a lot of confidence and belief and trust in yourself. I feel like once you leave and you just question your choices, like, can I trust myself, because I got myself into that in the first place, and the amount of processing that comes with that is just so significant. So at least, you know, for me, it was so challenging, and something that still kind of comes up here and there, that self-trust and self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
hit that it took.
So when you first join Juice Plus and you're doing your little preliminary Google search, you may on the story of O.J. Simpson. And I thought, I don't know if this is even worth talking about because it's so old news, like literally 1992 or 1994, right? Everybody knows that. Whatever. The company hired a guy who ended up murdering his ex-wife. It's not their fault. What does it have to do with Juice Plus?
And, I'm like, all right, you got to worry about your weight a little bit. But in any event, not only was I using it, I'll show you how smart I am. I'm dating my ex-wife. And obviously, with the name Juice Plus is a natural, right?
Name aside, OJ pitched the product his usual way.
The problem in talking with my ex-wife is, but our kids in this day and age, we're always giving them junk food, and how do we sit them down and get them to eat a healthy meal? And
what I had forgotten is that, I did not know that they paid him 6 figures to be a spokesperson. And I'm not sure if you know, Kat, if you ever saw Winter Vanecki speak on stage. So O.J. Simpson is a paid spokesperson, not unlike Winter Vanecki, except, totally different person. And tells the representatives that Juice Plus cured his arthritis, and he got into trouble for that. You can't do that. But they're still doing that. These are things that are still happening. From the time OJ got cut from NSA as a spokesperson because of his crimes, that same behavior continued from 1993 or whatever to present day. That is still happening. And he's not the last person who was a spokesperson for the company who ended up committing egregious crimes that nobody talked about.
Dun dun dun. Sorry.
In his defense for the murder, his defense was that he couldn't have committed the crime because he was too incapacitated from arthritis. Just some irony there. And in his book that he wrote, his memoir, If I Did It, he talks about the medication that he was on for his arthritis, which he has proof for in his defense. So it just goes to show, like, people will stop at nothing to spin a tale to sell a product. And you always got to be, if you look back at old videos of OJ, he's so charismatic, funny, and you could imagine yourself being in that room, and he's like, no, he's just like many of the other leaders that we would see in front of us, except he actually got convicted of crimes.
Juice Plus was originally, before Juice Plus, NSA, or the National Safety Association, who created water filtration devices.
Yeah.
And then they shifted.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Holy, I have a connection with this.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, one of my my uncles had NSA and was trying to like encourage me to tell my dad about it because he would be really good at selling it. This is like 1990.
Yeah.
I went, yeah. Oh, wow. I had no idea that NSA was the predecessor of Juice Plus.
Yeah, Jay Martin.
And then the lore is that Paul Texera was like, my dad's dying, and we need to develop a product that will save my dad. So then they created Juice Plus.
Of course.
And it's just so hard to extrapolate, like in general, fruits and vegetables, but for a variety of other reasons, it can be helpful for the fiber even that is contained in there. So it's hard to like translate that to specific like supplements. And yeah. And I mean, even if I were to, I mean, if you just like potatoes, if I created a potato multiple marketing, there is benefits to potatoes, but it's not going to, save anybody from anything. So like how much of that are they taking those research about potatoes and like extrapolating that and kind of selling this extreme belief off of those kind of research findings?
Yeah.
But to be fair, we know that potatoes do actually cure everything.
Right.
So
who wants to be on my team?
Founding member call right here. Surprise! This is actually a recruitment Zoom.
Ground opportunity. Ground floor.
We've got a dietitian on board.
And a psychotherapist.
Design a psychotherapist. We are legitimately not like other MLMs. We've been there, done that. In fact, we speak out against it. Oh my God. Okay, so the next bullet point here was saying some of the earliest and most notable representatives of Juice Plus include Jeff Roberti, Wendy Campbell, and Kurt Beavers.
Kat, do you know of anyone at the top other than Jeff Roberti, Kurt Beavers, Wendy Campbell? Is there other? Are those just the people that were on my radar? Are they the first people that became?
I think so, because Wendy Campbell is, I think, under Jeff Roberti, if I remember correctly.
Oh, and so is Kurt Beavers. Because
he's like the top. Yeah.
I was on the Campbell team, but I was technically also part of the Beavers team.
Okay. Yeah. We were very far removed from that main team. As far as Upline goes, not, one of the more like famous ones. She was featured on the website as one of the health educators. And it wasn't until I left that I found out that, and she was the main dietitian who recruited me, who would promote her being a PhD level dietitian, and her PhD was from a diploma mill. I found out afterwards. Yeah, her master's was from a university, but the PhD, they didn't list it on Juice Plus website, I think because they knew they just had her as the master's, but that was just something that up until I left and probably after, I don't know, I haven't spoken to her since, but that was part of her story of her kind of selling that idea.
Who are these people? These are people that are within this one particular multi-level marketing company. And I know, when I was in Monet during my time and afterwards, there's always these new figureheads that people think oh, wow, do you know this person? I got my picture taken with them at this event. Who are the people that are the most notable representatives in Juice Plus?
Well, Jeff Roberti is apparently the richest man in network marketing. Because Juice Plus is the best kept secret and there isn't even a lot of content, that the richest person in all of the network marketing world would actually be coming from this best kept secret company. It is so fascinating.
Did you ever go after conferences? He would have in the room, he would just give away money.
Here you go. Oh
yeah. I'm just and
I didn't.
There were you do kind of, what was it? It was did you go?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was always or prizes or a ticket to the next conference, and yeah, it was a party.
No, I talked to him. He gave me some wisdom at the side of a pool once, but I'd be so tired. I would just go to bed. I didn't party after.
And it was right after the last the ending of the conference. So it wasn't an actual party. It was in the date. It was just at a side to the conference right after.
Oh, because I would be at the feet of Wendy Campbell during that time.
Okay.
I'm going to say Mitra Ray, but I don't think I don't know when she joined in. It wasn't back in 1990, but it was pretty early on. She is one of the top figureheads for sure.
Yeah, because Jay Kelly was under her mom, and her mom was under Mitra.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joy.
Jake and Joy. Are they still doing coaching packages?
I wonder that, because I saw that they had shifted more so from promoting Juice Plus and more so promoting coaching for multi-level marketing, which is interesting.
Yeah. Just I think for critical thinking's sake, really think about the stories of these people and fact check them. Like you can do your own sleuthing and figure things out about people whose stories you just always heard. This person, part of their story, let's just say hypothetically, part of their story was that they were on Oprah. you might want to check what the episode was about and then realize it had nothing to do with Juice Plus. Just different things like that. I'm just saying. Or if somebody really who had an impactful story and you just haven't heard from them in a while, where are they now? You know, there are a lot of things. There's an analogy that Janja Lalich says within cults where things happen, cognitive dissonance is created, and you put it on the shelf because you're so invested at this point and you're being told to believe. So you don't want to let those negative seeds fester. So you put it on the shelf. So what I want to encourage is during this time of transition that you have this time because a lot is going on. And rather than busying yourself with putting out all the fires that aren't your responsibility because you didn't set those fires, take a gander at your shelf, take some things down, dust them off, and just see what you find.
So what is going on right now? What is this period of transition where people that are in Juice Plus might be now encouraged to actually do some critical thinking? What's going on?
So currently, they are partnering with Shopify to streamline the purchasing process. And the reason given was, well, I don't know if this is the official reason given, but at least one line within the company was told that it had to do with fraud.
Whoa.
Meaning that customers' information was being compromised.
Okay, so that's huge. So normally, a multi-level marketing company is like, we take care of all the shipping. You don't have to worry. This business can scale itself. If you were to recruit, 500 people the next day, we could handle it. But now they're saying that, we need to lock arms with Shopify.
What's really wild to me is that there is so much that we know this already. It is not your business. It is not your company. You don't have any say over anything. And if you have to go to someone to question, what are the changes? How do I roll with this? That is not your business. You are selling you are a salesperson. And it's so frustrating that view that is sold to people, that dream kind of casting of owning your own business, when people are changing how you are able to take customer orders, it is truly not your own.
Mm-hmm.
So are there other multi-level marketing companies that are with Shopify? So, I don't know, but with just some things to consider, not saying that they're phasing out reps. Maybe they don't know, because when we go back into the history, we'll see some things that have happened in the timeline of this company's operation that indicate, they're a corporation who are making decisions to try to keep the corporation profitable. So whatever they promise to reps about, we'll always take care of you and et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's not exactly up to your upline though. That they don't own, they may have got a business entity name, but that doesn't mean that they have anything to do with the owning an operation of Juice Plus as a corporation. That just means, I went and I got a business called Brandy Hadfield Health, so I can claim this on as my revenue for my business, but that doesn't mean I have any control of what direction the company of Juice Plus goes. So with Shopify, a company can streamline its direct-to-consumer sales, which reduces the need for all of these independent reps potentially. It offers automation tools. So this could be spun to reps as we're making this easier for you, but also the company doesn't have the same reliance on the reps for some of these tasks. So, like currently, the reps can't manage the customer orders. So the customers have always gone to the rep and say, can you delay my shipment by a month because I still have leftover product? And reps currently, their hands are tied and they can't do that for them. And they also can't get a call back from Juice Plus to help them with that because they're currently, the wait times on the phones are hours long. And all that they are being told is the company, you know, we're going through growing pains. The company will make this right. They always make this right. Here's some scripture that pertains to resilience. Believe, believe, believe. Here's some affirmations. But that doesn't help the reps who have, you know, their customers, the trust that they have with their customers has been leveraged to benefit the company, essentially, who makes the bulk of the money off of each sale, not the representative.
And it doesn't cut it for customers. I mean, when you're a participant or a rep of like Juice Plus, this is the company that we're talking about, is you can believe it. You love the company. Maybe you're taking in the scripture and the affirmations. You really do believe that this company is always going to take care of you. And at the same time, you can see your customers saying, it's like, whoa, 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 you're just saying fraud here. Has my information been compromised? You've said this company has been around for so many years. You have all these celebrity endorsements, and now I'm supposed to just be okay with it moving to Shopify, and now I have to take care of anything. I am not going to change my behavior that way. I want you to contact customer service. Why is Juice Plus going through growing pains? This company is like a dinosaur. It's been around forever. Where is it growing to? What's happening? How come you can't get all the customer service? Like, a customer on the outside is going to be like, wait a second. This isn't okay. They're going to be like, these poor participants are going to be like caught in this turbulence of, you know, the control and the belief of this company that they really like the products and they like the culture, and then the reality that their customers are pointing out. And they can't just very well point to these customers that maybe they've been helping for years and be like, well, you're just a hater. You're a demon. They're like, no, your company said fraud and I can't get through to customer service. It's like, that's reality, you know?
Yeah. I remember at the spring conference when I was watching kind of an overview on it, a summary on it, I remember them saying that it was basically like their focus of Juice Plus right now is to wake up a sleeping giant, if I remember correctly. And so I was like, interesting, it's sleeping, huh?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to wake it up? I felt like that was just kind of confirmation of they're not doing so great. And we know that from like the Moody reports. I don't know if you'll put like a screenshot of that. They're not doing well.
No.
On pro MLM websites, pro MLM news websites.
We go back in time a little bit to see what fed into this transition to Shopify. And you know, I will say, like, it isn't, I don't know how other MLMs do their business or collect the customer info, but it was very much a culture of like just jotting down their credit card info over the phone and things like that, which isn't secure. That's not a secure way. So it's potential that Travis Garza got here and said, hold on, what, how are you, you know, potentially, I don't know. But it's a shitstorm regardless, and it's not rolling out well. What's gone on over the years? So back to when I was in my heyday of working so hard, 2018, 2019, I would say, is when I peaked. And I had no idea, as much as I was like knocking on the door of NMD and doing all the things right and just keep doing exactly what you're doing and you're going to be a leader, given leadership responsibilities, coaching people not on my team, running my own business. You would think I would deserve to know that my business was acquired by Altamon Capital Partners, a Silicon Valley private equity firm, which can happen if you look at the website. They specialize in basically companies that are kind of struggling and they need some help. So this Silicon Valley company will buy your company, put some money into it, and determine some of the direction that it's going to take. They're going to say, hang on a second, you need to change some things here, here, and here. They're advising the direction of the company. So wouldn't it be prudent for representatives to know that the state of affairs of a company that they're a part owner of, or, in a co-op, for example, like in a co-op situation, the financials and everything are provided to the co-op members. That is part of the ethics of running something where everyone is a part owner of. And I'm not saying that they ever said that as a Juice Plus rep, you are buying into the stocks of it or that you own it, but the narrative is that this is your business. So if your business is affected by something above it, you in order to make an informed decision about, let's say, I'm going to invest in some tower gardens, or I'm going to bring on this person, this influencer, whatever. You can't make an informed decision of the direction of your finances and your energy and your time if you don't know the state of affairs fully. So in my opinion, omission is lying. You can't make an informed decision as a person if you don't have all of the information, and that it's deliberately kept from the representatives. Nobody was told this. If you're paying money to go on a plane and fly to a state for a convention, a piece of information like that would be really the time to include
I was trying to remember which one that was. Was that in Indy? Because I know that I was there in 2018 in October. I know I was at several of those conferences during that time, but I was trying to remember, because I know in 19 it was Austin, I think, in the October one. But yeah, I don't know if the October of 2018 might have been, I think Phoenix was more of like this. Maybe it might have been Phoenix. I don't remember. But yeah, they didn't say anything about that whatsoever.
But some people at the top knew, some NMDs knew. They didn't tell their team. And that possibly was part of the information that people at the top, when they went to another company, maybe, well, I definitely know of at least one person who knew that, and that was that helped inform their decision to jump companies. Of course, when a lot of people went over to Modere, and I think it's because Modere, from what I understand, from what I heard, is that Modere was headhunting, and they were offering what's called a bridge contract to top level leaders. If you come over and I don't know the details of the contract, but something is typically offered when these people jump ship. And that is another piece of the puzzle. Like when we show this case study of where did these leaders go and why, it's so sad to me that we trusted these people and they weren't giving us all the information. They were saying, I'm going over to Modere because of this, 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 and they're not mentioning, and also they gave me, X amount of dollars if I could recruit a certain percentage of my team over as well.
Something that kind of reminded me of was in the leadership trainings, we were always taught to complain upwards and to never let that go down the line. Basically, if you had any concerns about the company, you would only talk to your upline about it. And if they had any concerns about the company, they would not tell you. And that was one of the more frustrating things, because my direct upline we were both in undergrad together, and very much I felt like her being an upline, she was not able to have that conversation with me. And I just did not like that. I felt like I was just not in the know. And I could tell, I feel like sometimes where the whole story wasn't maybe I was getting the whole story. And I mean, she's great. I love her, and she has not been part of it. And we were all part of this whole like business structure and everything at that time. And I understand it now looking back, but it's so frustrating how if you do have valid concerns about the company, you're really encouraged not to talk to your downline about that.
Being a distraction in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to like the core beliefs, okay? What, in addition to just like believing in yourself, believing in the product, believing in the mission, believing is the science. The science is like okay, well, no matter what, we're going through some growing pains, but we've got science, y'all. So we all know what this incredible Garden of Eden does when it gets into the body at a cellular level. So that's where you can expect the attention to go. And I just want to encourage some critical thinking when it comes to even that which seems like such an unshakable, well, it's science. It's so many things, so many things to say here. But first thing is, isn't it interesting how within the company the science is cherry picked? You know, some science is told is corrupt and them, that the big pharma and the government, and you know, so some science is completely conspiratorially denied, but their science cannot be questioned. Their science is somehow better than other science, and it's this whole conspiracy of that this product line is so powerful, such a best kept powerful secret, that it would disrupt big pharma so tremendously that it's no surprise that people would go on the internet and try to speak ill of it. Because imagine what would happen if everybody had this powerful produce flowing through their bloodstream. We wouldn't need any medication anymore. We would live to be 130.
And kind of like what I was, I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but there is that whole argument of, well, big pharma wants to keep you on their medications for a long time, forever. And at that same time, that's being told by people who are trying to get you on their supplement for a long time, forever. We're encouraged to sell Juice Plus and continue those shipments going out. It's not a short-term kind of thing. So it's the exact same. It's such a silly argument.
But it's food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Going back to nobody could possibly eat 1,050 servings of fruits and vegetables per day, so therefore we need something to bridge the gap. Kat, I've been taking this supplement for a while now, and I haven't really noticed anything different. And I'm just curious, how many servings of fruits and vegetables am I getting by taking these capsules? And I know you told me to double up. Which means that it's costing me so much money, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay for this. So I'm really curious, with taking 12 capsules a day, how many servings of fruits and vegetables am I getting to help me get what I need?
And the fact that so many people are doing that instead of prenatals during pregnancy.
And having a healthy
Juice
baby
Plus
to
baby.
bring, yeah.
They would actually call it, yeah, it was a Juice Plus baby.
Oh my God. Okay, so the whole Juice Plus baby thing, I just want to remind people that your children grow up, they become adults, and there is a generation of young adults who are growing up in being non-consensual multi-level marketing spokespeople, who are growing up and saying, stop it, scrub the internet from my image. This isn't okay. I mean, there are laws being passed least in certain states in the United States, and I really hope that this trend continues, where you just can't be doing that. You just can't be making your children work as spokespeople for you. And it's not the parents' fault. This is what they're being trained and taught and shown as an example. And we'll again explain the case study of this, where there is somebody who is now an adult who was put up on podiums and is, not okay with that. So to answer my own question of how many servings of fruits and vegetables am I taking in, if I'm taking 12 capsules per day as recommended, because at first you're sold just whatever you can afford. But if you can afford to, you'll soon find out you're being recommended to double up, triple up. The top doctors triple up. If you're sick at all, you should take it on the hour. This all adds up. This is like the slippery slope that you're placed on. I can't tell you how many servings it is, because it's comparing apples to oranges. Because see, with Juice Plus, you're just getting the powerful micronutrients. You're not getting the fiber or the water. So I couldn't even tell you, because you're not, you're just getting the micronutrients. And I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from, like, the company doesn't want to discourage anybody from actually eating fruits and vegetables. So if we went down that road, we don't want to do that. And some people might think that they could just take Juice Plus and not eat food. We want to encourage eating real food. And it's proprietary. So I can't tell you exactly how much of each, like I can't tell you how much kale's in it. I can't tell you how much cherry's in it, because all of that is proprietary. So going back to the science, if you look at the peer-reviewed, double-blind, placebo-controlled research papers, you will see what this does when it gets into the body. So do you see how there's a change when you're being sold, when you're being sold the product? You're being told it's because you can't eat enough fruits and vegetables. But then when you ask how many fruits and vegetables, you don't get an answer to that. That's a red flag.
Yeah. And it's furthering this idea that I think the fear around like that was encouraged over taking like a multivitamin. Multivitamins aren't necessary for many people. A lot of times it also, like, the bioavailability or how much of it is actually utilized in the body depends on the amount, what is in there, the quality, lots of different factors, and sometimes it will be more recommended versus other times. But going back to Juice Plus, it was just something that was recommended for everybody. Like you said, if you have a pulse, and it's for you. And that is just not the case when it comes to anything in nutrition, any kind of additional, even though it wasn't considered a supplement because it had a nutrition facts label on it, and because it was like a food product, it was still supplementing the intake. And there's just nothing that's going to be across the board all good for everybody.
Yeah.
And this is so frustrating.
I took Juice Plus as my prenatal, as we were encouraged. I mean, there was different, you would get different stories. Like, so my firstborn, I took a prenatal because I didn't know about it. And then you're hearing, Julie, you may want to pull up the study. They tried to create a study. If you search Mitra Ray Juice Plus pregnancy, you will see Dr. Odom put together this like research, but it's so poor it can't pass this actual research. The doctor that I was under would be careful to say, take a prenatal and Juice Plus.
Mhm.
So there would be some people who hadn't, potentially those who had an active medical practice and a license that could be stripped would
Mhm.
say what they should say, which is that it's not
Mhm.
not to replace a prenatal. But there are other like wild people out there who would say, I took it as my prenatal, and therefore look at my healthy 8-pound baby who's never been sick and never been on antibiotics, as if that's science.
Right. Right.
But there's no research to show that it could or should replace a prenatal supplement in pregnancy. Juice Plus is the only company that talks about having the best of the best science. I didn't know this, but Shaklee, Amway, lots of companies have scientific backing of its products. What is interesting for me is that each of these companies mocks the other ones. So literally in a video about the science of Juice Plus, the person leading the training says, these other companies, they crack me up. She just laughs. It's like a laughable fact that anybody could be on anything other than Juice Plus. And she says borrowed research. Actually, other companies have paid for research, just like Juice Plus has, on their actual products too. It's no new. Okay, you're in the United States, Kat.
Mhm.
Have you ever done the thing that they tell you to do where you ask Siri what's the most researched?
Oh, yes. What's the most
Does it-
researched nutritional product?
There's a way you're
in
supposed
the
to
world?
phrase it. There's a way you're
Yeah,
supposed to
it was-
ask Siri, and you
Mhm.
phrase it in this way, and it tells you Juice Plus, and they use it as like this, like, see?
because it's SEO.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
ask Siri.
and with the research, I remember one of them had like, what was it, like 8 people in it or 12 people? It just wasn't that large of the what's called like the N, the people who are being studied. The one that had larger, that I'm kind of thinking of, if I remember correctly, was just the fact that it was like you could see like changes bloodstream wise, like that it was being not just like flushed or not just like going right through the body, but the extrapolation of that into what that would do, like second, third order effects. That was where a lot of the claims came from. Because like, I mean, if you eat something, it's because it was the fruits and vegetables and the capsule was, fairly simple to break down. Yes, your body would be able to utilize that, break that down, but I would still recommend fruits and vegetables, and getting the other benefits from fruits and vegetables, like the fiber that you mentioned, like the water even in there. Again, like sometimes there can be, it's not to say that all greens products are not going to make sense in some cases, but there are so many ones that are not MLM related that if it were to make sense, would
And
be a much better kind of route to go.
The Juice Plus company talks about how they're just like copying, like they're the knockoffs and Juice Plus is the original. But then I found out that like Amway and Shaklee, like they came up with like similar products that you use.
And it's not necessary for like daily. It's not necessary in the first place, but like for daily use, even in cases where it makes sense,
The thing, like with all these companies, you see it like it's more is better. It's just automatically accepted. You don't even have to like really convince people. A lot of people just think, oh, more vegetables must mean better.
Oh my gosh, did you ever have anybody who experienced detox symptoms? Or like basically anybody who gets sick from taking the products, if like, oh, my customer actually got really sick, oh, they're detoxing. And then they give you this like handout to give them like, this is what detoxing is. A little sus. Just, we talked about affinity fraud with the professionals. We're on to the timeline. The company has been purchased by the Silicon Valley company. And then the pandemic happens. And then we have a new kind of affinity fraud taking place, which is among those who would be, it was a very crazy time. And people were afraid, and some people were hesitant to take this vaccine because it was a new technology. And that is where a new type of recruitment demographic came into play. Were you still with the company during this time?
No. I'm still waiting on turning into a zombie or whatever, or getting my extra powers from the vaccine. But no, I had really started deconstructing in 2019.
Okay.
From it, and I think I might have been getting some of the shakes just because like I don't use them anymore, but when I would make the little energy bites, they tasted like really sweet and I enjoyed it, but
because there's cane sugar in them.
Yeah, that's all like, and I'm like very food neutral, and so it's like, taste. But no, I wasn't like promoting it or selling or like trying to build a team anymore.
Isn't that funny how we have to do like the shred 10, and one of the things
I did not promote that.
Okay.
That was one of the things that like I did not like.
Yeah, I changed the name of it, and so we had this program that was created by Mitra Ray and Jake Kenny.
Yeah, and Jake Kelly promoted a lot.
Called the Shred 10. It used to be called the 21-day transformation, I believe. And then they were like, oh, damn it. People don't want to. The story goes that Jake Kelly, who is younger, is like university student, is like, people want to party on the weekend, so nobody wants to do the 21-day transformation. So then they created the Shred 10 because you could do anything for 10 days. But then it evolves to tricked ya, it's a lifestyle. But one of the things that you were not to have for those 10 days, like it was dairy, gluten, anything processed,
coffee,
and one of them was sugar.
It took the joy out of life.
But you're supposed to have 2 shakes a day, which have sugar in them. Yeah. Nobody, just stinking thinking, forget that. You need sugar for your brain a little bit.
Yeah, when they promoted that was one of the reasons, like the first, I was like, oh no, this is not for me.
I called it the healthy, what did I call it? 10-day intentional living challenge. Because 10 sounded too like jock bro to me.
Yeah. This is around this time, in actually April of 2020, there was and I have a video on this distributor. He got to the top level and I saw him speak. I believe it was in Austin. I think it was October of 2019, if I might be incorrect with that, but that was the last like a big event that I went to, and it was mostly to see my friends. I had already stopped like focusing on team building at that point, but I remember him, he was a chiropractor, and he was just telling, using that to pretty much grow his business. But in April of 2020, he was actually the organizer of the Michigan lockdown rebellion, and he was promoting Juice Plus as this kind of like cure for coronavirus, for COVID-19. And I have a video on that if you want to look into that a little bit more, but that was just like the tip of the iceberg. So much of the culture, I feel like, changed in that time in a lot of different places, but especially in the Juice Plus world. And I was, again, like not in it in the same way, but it really, I forgot the word that you said, but was promoting or like pulling people who were more into that kind of natural.
Yeah, affinity fraud.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So somebody who is conspiratorially minded, they are feeling an extra level of isolation because they are maybe questioning or uncomfortable with they're going, and there's a lot of friction among families. So it was just an incredibly isolating time. And there was Juice Plus to go. We're like-minded people. Pluck. Now you can come be in the know with us. And so then if you, like a lot of these, like just like Scientology, if you get into Scientology because you took the free personality test, and then maybe you took a little $50 course and you felt that you got a raise at work and things really changed for the better and you had some positive results, and then you take the next course and you get in further and further, the further up the line you go, the more unhinged information you're going to be privy to. And it's not until your sunk costs are so high that you're more willing to go along with what other people are doing, or be more accepting, or be more trusting of things that you wouldn't have trusted had you not bonded so deeply with these people, etc. That's why I can look back and go, oh, interesting. If I would have been told day one, like when I signed up to become a rep, if I would have been told on that initial phone call, something that you need to know, Brandy, is that we're going to say some questionable things, but you need to just believe everything that we're going to tell you. I'd be like, whoa, that doesn't sound right. So that's something that people need to know who are critical of people who get involved in multi-level marketing and any type of cult. Is like, well, I wouldn't be so gullible. You'd be surprised at what you will do. And there are there are groupthink experiments that show the lengths that people will go to not make waves, it is our nature as social beings to try to adhere to a group norm.
But an experiment is not a public opinion poll. It examines behavior under the pressure of social forces, as the experiment of Solomon Asch reveals.
The experiment you'll be taking part in today involves the perception of lengths of lines. As you can see here, I have a number of cards, and on each card there are several lines. Your task is a very simple one. You're to look at the line on the left and determine which of the three lines on the right is equal to it in length. All right, we'll proceed in this order. You'll give your answer.
Only one of the people in the group is a real subject, the fifth person with the white t-shirt. The others are confederates of the experimenter and have been told to give wrong answers on some of the trials. The experiment begins uneventfully as subjects give their judgments.
2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3.
But on the third trial, something happens.
2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
The subject denies the evidence of his own eyes and yields to group influence.
1.
Asch found subjects went along with the group on 37% of the critical trials. But he found through interviews that they went along with the group for different reasons.
1. They must be right. There are 4 of them and 1 of me. 1.
This subject's yielding is based on a distortion of his judgment. He genuinely believes that the group is correct.
1. 1. 2. 1. 2. 2. 2.
I know they're wrong, but why should I make waves?
2.
In this case, the subject knows he is right, but goes along to avoid the discomfort of disagreeing with the group. Here, the distortion is at the level of his response.
2. 2. 2. 2.
In the previous experiment, the naive subject stood alone against the group. In this variation, Asch gave the naive subject a partner, here seated in the third position, who also gives the correct response.
1. 1. 2. 1. 2.
With a partner, yielding drops to only 5% of the critical trials compared to 37% without a partner. Although subjects report warmth and good feeling toward the partner, they typically deny that he played a role in their own independence. The partnership variation shows that much of the power of the group came not merely from its numbers, but from the unanimity of its opposition. When that unanimity is punctured, the group's power is greatly reduced. Sometimes we go along with a group because what they say convinces us they are right. This is called informational conformity. But sometimes we conform because we are apprehensive that the group will disapprove if we are deviant. This is called normative conformity. The strength of the normative factor is shown in another variation carried out by Ash. In this variation, the subject is told that because he had arrived late, he would have to write his answers. Subjects in this private response experiment are exposed to the same amount of misleading information as other subjects, but they are immune from any possible criticism by the group.
One.
And this enormously reduces the pressure to conform. Conformity drops by 2/3. Ash's experiment is a classic. It reveals how people will deny what they see and submit to group pressure. It allows us not only to observe conformity, but to study the conditions that increase or reduce its occurrence.
We want to be, we need other people for survival. So if we're attaching to this group, then the longer in we are, the more our behavior might appear questionable, and we're not even realizing it in real time. Is that making sense?
Absolutely. There's I think, what is it? Not a con, but there's something for everybody. What's that phrase? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you may go, oh, I could never join that group, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something out there that's just perfectly poised to latch onto what your particular vulnerabilities
for everyone.
are.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I've said this before on other interviews where there was the stimulus, people spending their stimulus checks and leaders not even doing the responsible thing, which would be do that. That money is meant to help you put food on the table, not spend it on supplements.
When the warning letter came, I was already like making Antimlm content and had had some people unfriend me from Juice Plus, and so that was something that I saw on the back end, and I was really curious. And I was still in some of the different like Facebook groups that didn't kick me out, and so I saw a little bit of the chatter about we need to be more careful with our verbiage and everything, but I was curious if it was any different being like a little bit closer to the situation, if they were talking about this letter at all, or if they were just saying we need to be careful.
When that happened, there was a chattering. They didn't say, the leaders didn't say, we got a warning from the FTC, but they said, they just said, we have to change some of the wording that we're using, and we have to be careful around making income claims. And there was trainings on what to say instead. And so the training was for income, for example, you can't claim to be making a certain amount of money, but what you can say is that you can talk about something that you can now afford, which to me is just like, I don't think the FTC would be okay with that. I don't think they ever recommend that, to say now
Really
since I've started my Juice Plus business, I can pay for my mortgage. My mortgage is covered now.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's almost worse than showing a pay stub, because do you need to step away, Kat?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Sounded like a little dinosaur.
I'm just like so oblivious. No, he's fine. He was just playing.
Okay.
I can do that again though.
So they get this warning, and then during the pandemic, we're told to be careful on our wording. And then there's a bunch of people leave for Modair, which I touched on, how it was handled when some of these celebrated leaders left. Because it's confusing, because as I said, you are groomed to trust and these leaders. You may have been on coaching calls with them. You watch them cry on stage. You may have connected your prospects to them, and then they leave. And, just like the Monet man insulted the people that left. I remember hearing things like, you know, why someone would leave to go sell ground up chicken feet when they could be changing lives is beyond me. You know, just mean, gossipy stories about the people who left, putting them down as ignorant, as not appreciating what they had, and you know, just how any cult would treat any defector, not how a corporation would treat somebody who moved on to a different business or different opportunity. You know, if you work for a company and then you're a leader ends up going to work for Google or some other company, there's probably you know, a farewell to them. Thanks for everything that you've done for us. Letting people know they've moved on. You know, we loved our time with them. They would probably have an exit interview to find out their feedback as someone who had devoted so much of their time to this company. But that's not how cults work. So that's an important distinction of how people are treated when they leave in a group like this versus in a legacy, one might say a legacy company. We forgot to talk about, okay, the changes in this recent conference and how they didn't address it. And maybe if you go on Loren Lahav's Instagram, Julie, you can pull up like a couple pictures of the 70s party. It just looks like the most pitiful conference in history. Like it makes Monet's conference look like a spectacular.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And they were already pretty small when they were like at the peak in like.
Yeah, I had no idea. I'd never seen I've never seen these stadiums that Arbonne and Monet, like I'd never seen anything like that. So when I went to a Juice Plus conference, like I wasn't like, well, this is shitty. I was just like, okay, like I just took it in. But now the most recent conference you can show that, remember that one that I sent you, Julie, and it like Mitra Ray is up on stage with what's her name? That was oh my God, what's that woman's name? Who is kind of in charge of? She works with the farmers. Lisa Pebble and Mitra Ray are up on stage, and this person's like filming it, and basically they pan, and you can see all these empty seats. And it's like normally when Mitra Ray takes the stage, it's a packed house. Like, and they're talking about some science shit. They're just regurgitating the same things that we've heard for years at every conference and not addressing the elephant in the room at all. It's like, this company always does the right thing. Well, you know what? What? When you say this company, are you talking about Altamon Venture Capital or whatever it's called? Are you talking about Altamon? Or are you talking about, because that's who owns it. I went into the rabbit hole of, let's look at some people that I really respected and looked up to and where they are now. And, you know, there was one of the very first, actually the first event I ever went to, these two best friends went up on stage and they were very charismatic. And I remember looking at the new rep that I brought with me and saying, that's going to be us. We're going to be them. They just painted this picture of like best friends in business.
Go too deep into my business story, but I really, really drug my feet. I mean, I was just kicking and screaming into this business. And so many people that you'll hear get up here that have had success did not want this, did not see the potential in this business. So if you have a prospect that you're sharing with, or somebody's in your heart and you see this, that you would love to work with them and travel with them and live life with them in a deeper way, then just keep going, keep loving on them, keep dripping on them, keep showing that you're having a good time and sharing your experience with them from the heart. And eventually when the time is right, they will join you and you guys can have success together.
They were relatable, they were funny, they were charismatic. And I had coaching with one of them. I really looked up to them. When one of these people would be at the conference, they were like a princess. Like everyone would be like, oh, I can't believe I'm in the same room as this person. Those two friends left together. They went to Modair. They promoted that for a while. And now they're promoting coaching coaches to coach coaches. So was everything not true that they said before? are they still, they said they would be taking it forever. Are they still taking it? I don't know. But another person went on, celebrated leader who emotionally spoke on stage, went on to Enagic, where they are making dastardly income and lifestyle claims over there. And then we have Wren, who was in the Jeff Roberti line. So Jeff Roberti recruited Loren. Jeff Roberti has connections to Tony Robbins. He was maybe the first Juice Plus rep or one of the very first Juice Plus reps. Self-proclaimed richest man in network marketing. He recruited Loren Lahav, and it's a very famous story of how he was after her for years to join, and she was in Tony Robbins. That's how he knew her. And one year he said, you need to just come to this conference, and he paid for her flight to attend.
6.5 years ago, my friend Jeff Roberti invited me to a Juice Plus conference. He said to me, Loren, just come and see what it's all about. And if you're not interested, you can at least say that you gave it a strong no. What if I had said no to Jeff like I had for 17 years? What if?
And then she attended the conference, and then she has this video, what if? What if I would have said no to him as I had said no so many years before? And she, with her incredible Rolodex of contacts within the Tony Robbins world, recruits Wren, another Tony Robbins person. Incredibly charismatic, kind of reminds me of O.J. Simpson vibes when he speaks. And he exploited his daughter's medical situation, having had open heart surgery. And in Loren's video, it shows him beside her in the hospital bed.
What if we hadn't contacted Luke, whose daughter Faith had open heart surgery at the age of 8?
He gave many an emotional speech, brought her up on a podium. I was not expecting to uncover the disgusting rabbit hole of what has happened to him. But you would think if something was that powerful, that it saved the life of a child, that you wouldn't be just living it up in Herbalife one day, which is where he currently is. With a new wife, expecting a new child, and where his other children are, well, you can research that if you have the stomach for it.
This is a heads up. I'm going to be playing that news article now. So if you're not feeling up to watching content concerning this topic today, just click off. Please take care of yourself. And here's the news article.
With child sexual assault allegations spanning 3 states, including an investigation underway here in Eau Claire. A man with local ties was recently arrested and charged in Florida for multiple counts of child sexual assault. Charges are pending in Minnesota as well. The details may be disturbing to some. Wren is charged in Sarasota, Florida with 4 felony counts of sexual battery of a victim under the age of 12. According to the affidavit filed with the charges, the victim detailed multiple instances of sexual abuse by Wren. The Florida affidavit says they spoke with investigators in Stillwater, Minnesota, who were investigating another case with a different victim. Both victims reported the assaults happened when they were around the same age, that was between 6 and 10. Other similarities were documented, such as the grooming techniques Wren allegedly used. Charges have been referred to the district attorney's office in Minnesota. The investigation into a 3rd case is ongoing, according to the Florida reports from when Wren lived in Eau Claire. Eau Claire police did confirm with News 18 a detective has been assigned to that case. Since it is an active investigation, they said they're unable to comment. Wren is currently out on a $100,000 bail in Florida. He's due back in court next month in that case.
To me, that was to find that out was just probably the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of me having to name names and say this, because it just underscores the lack of transparency and the deception and the lengths that people will go to not do the right thing. October 2022, I wonder if any of the representatives who are still a part of Juice Plus were informed about the fact that Juice Plus had experienced double-digit sales declines in its fiscal year ending April 2022, and that Moody's is concerned that the company will face difficulty mitigating distributor revenue and earnings declines because of increased hybrid work arrangements. So essentially what happened was that there was a spike in business during the pandemic, and after the pandemic, there was a great decline. People were able to have remote work situations and more flexible jobs, and they weren't as desperate to look for something as outside the box as joining a multi-level marketing company. So what this means is that,
and also just that when this was announced in the Business for Home is a like pro MLM kind of source. So it's saying a lot that, in my opinion, that they're sharing this information like upfront about Juice Plus and to like our pro MLM. It's just interesting.
This company has to acquire Juice Plus. They have to sell it to this Silicon Valley company. And then despite that, they are being named a bad investment idea. It is not looking good for the financial future of Juice Plus. They get a new CEO, Stuart Crona, I don't know how to say her last name, who came from Coca-Cola, I believe. I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of odd. Okay, I don't know why, it just struck me as a little odd. And then she left after no more than a year. And I recall that the letter that she sent to everybody stated that we promote work-life balance and flexibility, and that is the opposite of what her experience was, and so she needed to leave. Interesting. So she leaves, and then they get new CEO Travis Garza, who was the president of sales and marketing at Plexus. We get a new leadership covenant. Somebody let me know they got this covenant, and they were aghast that a leadership agreement would be called a covenant, which has biblical, it's got a biblical feel to it, connotation, yeah. And I was like, wow, I can't, and I had no idea that I had signed a covenant myself. When it just goes to show you how things will just go right over your head when you're deep in. Because I was like, how can they call it a covenant? I can't believe they're calling it a covenant now. No, it was always called a covenant. But the covenant from 2 pages is now 4 pages. It contradicts what you are told when you get recruited into Juice Plus, which is that you get to decide how fast or how slow you go. You get to decide to do a little or do a lot. No matter what, your position is permanent. All of these things that we're verbally told change once you sign the covenant, which is taking a vow of productivity and involvement, ensuring you go to every conference, that you're constantly active with your team. A lot of gray area things that, like, how do you actually measure these things? A lot of places for somebody to come in and say, you know what, actually, you're gone because I've determined that you're not as active. Like all of these, like very hard to factually determine. Like, what does it mean to be actively involved in your team? That is such a, so to me, when I look at it, it looks at, these are all of the ways that we can terminate you.
So I have a question about this covenant, because this sounds like really heavy and serious. So, when you sign up with a multi-level marketing company, there's like the policies and procedures, terms and conditions. Everybody is supposed to read the policies and procedures. Everybody's supposed to read the terms and conditions. give it a tick mark. You're like, okay, I'm good to go. Was this presented at the beginning when people are signing up as a distributor for Juice Plus, or is this some weird non-official document that's like supposed to bind you to like the company and your upline and your productivity? What's going on? What is this covenant?
The covenant is given to you once you acquire the first leadership position of senior sales coordinator. So you're officially a leader now. So now you sign the covenant. Now you have you have to step up to the plate because now shit's getting real. Doesn't matter that you're making less than minimum wage. You're a leader.
Are people like, do people when they first join Juice Plus, are they aware that this covenant is going
coming?
to come
No.
down?
No.
So it's a surprise.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it because I was the level underneath.
Wow. So it's a surprise. It's like, boom, they're just springing.
But it's given to you in a celebratory way. Congratulations. And now sign your away. Okay. I'm just so excited because I worked so hard to get here. This is an honor to sign this. It means it's real. I'm a leader now.
So now this is by a document given out by Juice Plus. Am I understanding that correctly? When you reach a certain rank. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then people obviously sign it because it's like they're so excited about it. There's really not an option. You're not able to disagree with this thing. Like, of course you're going to sign it, right?
I do know of a person who said, I think they take it on a case-by-case basis. I do know of a person who said, I'm not signing this. And it was kind of left. They were kind of, oh, geez, I don't want to deal with her and that. And so she hasn't been terminated and she didn't sign it. But I think they've got so many fires to put out right now. I think it's a case-by-case basis. If you decide that you're not going to sign it, what's going to then happen or not happen.
Okay.
But the covenant indicates that you must be always adding partners and customers. So I technically broke my covenant when I took a sabbatical because I wasn't active. I was going on what I was told. And, whether or not another person would get the same grace that I got, it depends. So you have to, keep active, communicate on a regular basis with your team, attend all the conferences and the events. You have to provide ongoing information, counseling, and business-related guidance to your team. All field leadership devote substantial efforts to meet these responsibilities and hence reserve the right to investigate such efforts to appropriate business activities being conducted. And it has an overall threatening tone, in my opinion. It's contrary to being told this is your business. And what is even said in the starter guide. The starter guide says, our unique business model allows you to build your own Juice Plus business at your own pace. And that is a quote from the founder, Jay Martin, who is not currently actively involved. And I think that's due to he's just gotten old. 2024, summer of 2024, the Juice Plus company also ended the Wellness Coordinator Program, which was a program wherein you could partner with a doctor, let's say, or a practitioner of any kind, and say I'm trying to recruit Kat, who's a dietitian, and says, I'm too busy to deal with like all this, like going into the back office and doing all this stuff. I'd say, I can be your wellness coordinator. So I would get a little extra for doing all of the work to log in as Kat and basically do her work for her. It was actually crappy because my experience was that it would be something like I wasn't getting wellness coordinator fees. That like when I had was originally told about the wellness coordinator program that we could take part in, I never saw that. I just was directed to use that title and just take the commission that I would get for them being in my downline and do all of the logging in and manual work of managing all of their customers. And it was a huge pain because I have to log in myself and log in as different people to manage their stuff. It was a lot of extra labor for just such a small percentage of profit, but all in the name of one day crossing the stage and becoming a national marketing director, all in the name of the mission and what this is really about, which is making the world a better place and, you know, all of that. But regardless, some people I think were getting the proper wellness coordinator fee, but regardless, they ended that program. So some people were pretty understandably disappointed because they're just gonna lose out on that extra income and still have to do all of that work. But then of course we have then now this whole transition to Shopify, and we have the September 2024 Phoenix conference where none of that was addressed. The turnout doesn't look amazing. It doesn't look like an amazing, but comments will say this was the best conference in history.
You should put in the little meme of that dog saying like everything's fine, drinking the coffee at the table with the whole house burning. It's essentially how a lot of the distributors are currently.
And then we have, at what point did Tower Garden back away?
I want to know if they are going to try to be multi-level marketing because they haven't responded to you, Kat. So that's suspicious.
Very suspicious.
Maybe they don't know. I don't know. Like NSA didn't create the Tower Garden. So like, I'm trying to go back. Like what happened? Like imagine what happened. Somehow they learned about this Tower Garden and they're like, we got to have them part of Juice Plus. So they make a deal with them and kind of bring them into the fold. What was life like for Tower Garden before they got involved?
Swept into it. Yeah. Did you have a Tower Garden? Okay.
Yeah, I had
two. I haven't used, I was trying to remember. I think the last time I used it was like 2019 or 2018 or 2019. And I've been meaning to throw it out and I haven't thrown it out just for, it's a lot and it takes up too much space in the
I sold mine on Kijiji. There are people that like to grow marijuana at home and that's a good.
Okay. I just never had enough room in the, in the trash can to throw it away. And then I just, never got around to it, but I mean, it's like holding a whole bunch of like other things in the storage in the in the backyard. So
2024 is not shaping up to be a good year for Juice Plus. So it's like you're like linking, just pointing out these things that have been happening. So the ending of the wellness coordinator program, gone. This covenant, this covenant that people are talking about not liking, ending of the wellness coordinator, and then also Tower Garden is no longer going to be affiliated with Juice Plus, or maybe they're backing away. We don't really know what's going on.
I think that from what I'm seeing is that some people are still Tower Garden affiliates, but it's just that volume isn't going to be able to be counted towards anything in terms of Juice Plus promotions. So they're still making a commission off selling Tower Garden as an affiliate, but they can't. Yeah, like again, they can't use that volume.
And that was a big push to use that volume to get sales coordinator. It was kind of like, wait until you're going to hit it and then use that because you get so many points.
So some chatter is like, you know what? Well, maybe Juice Plus is going to go to affiliate too. Or I've heard that apparently there is the option to be an affiliate for Juice Plus and not build a team and just get the commission. I would love to see proof that you could make enough money to cover your workload as an affiliate. I would love to see any sort of documentation or proof or how that would work. You're currently involved in the company. You may not care. Some people, I mean, everybody's experience is going to be different, and it depends on how deep you're in, how big your customer base is, how much you bought into certain things. However, they require peripheral, like every cult that you look at has peripheral members who are like, you know what, I had a benign experience. I went to NXIVM classes and I really enjoyed them. That doesn't negate the impact that is being had on people, on other people who are coming forward or frustrated or who have lost a significant amount of money, time, and energy in this scheme, in my opinion, scheme. And when you have concerns and they're being met with what is called a thought terminating cliche, so just some kind of anecdote, it might have alliteration or a rhyme to it to make it sound really appealing. And the intention is to shut down your question or to shut down your concern. That's called a thought terminating cliche. And so you might be frustrated and having a lot of complaints that you're dealing with and being told about resilience. So that's kind of putting it on you as though it is your job to be resilient and to believe harder instead of addressing head on and providing actual support. And it may vary from team to team how much support the upline. There may be some cases where the upline is getting involved in getting on the phone and talking to customers. That doesn't mean that is certainly not happening in every single team. Scripture, being given scripture is spiritual bypassing. Like, that is not a way to address a legitimate concern. And
like, you know, when you said the customers, you can't get through to customer service. So like a real life example for somebody in Juice Plus that's starting to really wanting to get some answers here and getting frustrated with not getting any and feeling guilty about it could be like, they're in a group chat or on a group and they're saying, I can't get through to customer service and my customer really needs some help and I don't know what to do. And they give you scripture. That could be also a thought terminating cliche. You're supposed to just not question. It's like, this does not help the reality of Juice Plus not getting their poop in a group to answer the phones. That's not my issue. Has nothing to do with me being resilient. Whether I just like take a spaceship and I fly to another planet tomorrow, those lines are still not going to be answered. That's a problem. So that could be something that, you know, a Juice Plus participant could be, see, this is a good example that you're struggling with right now, trying to figure out what's going on with Shopify, this whole thing about fraud, your customers wanting help, you can't help them. And then you're not even being given the information. And then you're being made to feel like it's your fault somehow for even questioning.
And another thing to be aware of as well is that when you're being told, and there's so much around this, you know, bridging the gap and that everybody needs to be on this and thinking that this is the only way to have healthy children that aren't getting sick all the time and the only way to get pregnant and the only way to not die of cancer. And you believe that because you're subscribing to the 4 beliefs. And then I know that I'm not the only one who bought Juice Plus for people that I care about. So not only am I having my whole family on it, but I'm buying it for other people. And then now you're in this shitstorm and you've got people who are going into overdraft because they're not able to get their order canceled and their money's still being taken out of their account and there's nobody helping at head office. And so a rep is just like giving them money because they want to make it right. And they own their business. They're taking ownership and being a leader and stepping up. There's nothing to say that all of this can't be just one day gone tomorrow. None of the other, you know, say what you will about this company always makes it right. And remember, who owns the company? It really isn't up to your national marketing director, the future of this company. It is up to the investment company that purchased it ultimately. So there's no way to know that they will make it right. And what does that even mean? And when? You deserve to know how and when it will be made right. You know, what is the future of Juice Plus? I don't know.
It's not looking good.
I don't know, but I mean, looking at not only the timeline of what has happened since 2018, looking at the where we're at in the information age of more and more people speaking out about multi-level marketing, more and more awareness of what these things look like, how they operate, what the playbook is, more and more companies going under, like big, well-known companies like Avon and Tupperware filing for bankruptcy, Saint closing down in a heartbeat, Beauty Counter closing down in a heartbeat. I mean, I'm sure there was science backing these things as well. There's a reason why people were there for decades devoting their life force to these companies. They weren't stupid. You're not superior being in Juice Plus to any other representative in any one of these other companies that have gone under. They're not infallible. That is what you have to wrap your mind around, like big reality check. There's no infallible company out there. It doesn't exist. And using your faith to have you give yourself to be so loyal to what's no more than a corporation and a brand. It is not God. It is not Jesus Christ. And it is not the only company that claims God put it on their heart to join it. So make your decisions based on the facts and the information. Don't be afraid to ask questions and do what's right for you and your family.
And if people are watching this, you happen to be in Juice Plus and you're starting to question, when you ask your upline and when you ask your company questions, you are not going to get the truth because you're in an MLM. They're not going to say, oh, you're right. We've just been
not looking good.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
It will be fun. It will be fun. And you know what? There all the time in companies, if you worked for, I don't know, let's say Ben & Jerry's ice cream. If you work for Ben & Jerry's and they were going through some difficult transitions and difficult times and they were losing money and they were they're not going to tell the customer service representative at the cash about all of their issues. That's just reality. What I'm trying to have people wrap their head around is that it's no different than, they're not above that. They're just a corporation like any other corporation that's going to do what is in the company's best interest, the investor's best interest.
And I don't see it getting at that peak based on the products and how much information is out there about MLM now.
I shouldn't say they're no different than Ben & Jerry's because Ben & Jerry's will pay people an hourly wage to work.
Yeah.
But in terms of what are they loyal to? They're loyal to their investors and their bottom line when it comes down to it.
I just don't, as somebody on the outside now, I just don't see how they can come back from this with even the market, like the need for a kind of product like this when there are so many. Again, you don't need to have a greens product, but even if somebody does want one, there's so many other options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you don't have to go through all these hurdles and this uncertainty and your private information maybe being at risk for fraud. And then you having to you can just place an order with whatever company.
Not on subscription.
Not on subscription. Yeah.
Or even go get it in a store. There's just so many other options now, and how much information is about and like on anti-MLM in general. I just don't see how it can be reversed at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. I look back to my own health journey, and I really did believe that Juice Plus was the key to my health and my children's health. And I look back and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't really realize how many factors were playing into my circumstances, like where I was at in terms of pregnancy and postpartum and hormones and other things. Because now today, like this many years out, every time I get blood work done and I hear back about it, I get reinvigorated with anger because I don't take Juice Plus and haven't for years. And I really thought that was like, I couldn't take it because when I like woke up from what this was, I couldn't take it anymore because I was angry, but I was also scared that I wasn't taking it. Like, what's going to happen? The other shoe is going to drop. I'm going to get cancer. Like, and call me stupid if you will, but this isn't uncommon in cult recovery to have fears, to worry about condemnation, anxiety, and so on. So I was afraid, and then nothing shitty happened. I didn't get, because I had joint issues as well. And I believe that Juice Plus helped my joint issues, but I don't know what actually caused them. Like, I don't know how hormones played a role. No one can know. The Wellness Trap is a good book to talk about different biases and not just biases, but what are they called? Oh, Jesus. When you may, logical fallacies. The Wellness Trap talks about logical fallacies and biases that can play into why we think products are doing a certain thing. And so I don't know. I don't know why I'm not crippled with arthritis or why my blood tests were so good, because it's going to be a whole myriad of factors. But I'm telling you that it's not hashtag because of Juice Plus. I thought that it was at one point, and now I'm here to tell you, you will be okay. You will be okay. I actually had a rep reach out to me just the other day, say the exact same thing. I'm disconnected from the business, but I'm scared. I'm scared to stop taking it.
Same thing happened with Monat. I was terrified to stop using the shampoo. So I didn't think I was going to get cancer, but like even at, like, I had a VIP customer, so not even a market partner, not even in the cult, like the periphery of the cult. She was terrified to use any other shampoo other than Monat. We were talking about it because I left, she left, like there was a few people that left the same time I did as I'm like waking up. And she said, I almost feel like guilty, like I'm cheating on Monat, like I'm doing something wrong. And then there's also that, like that Stephen Hassan was talking about cult phobia. And I thought it's like a cult phobia of stopping to use the product or the service, you know? And that's what it was like with the shampoo. And I remember I thought, okay, I know better, but still I had this fear. And I found this old bottle of Avita shampoo. And I'm like, okay, this is it. This is my first day shampooing my hair without Monat. And nothing happened.
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah.
That's so unfortunate, because that really keeps people, even if they're not team building, it keeps them in as a customer, which is just as harmful and wasteful.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I feel like I should say full disclosure that there are some supplements that I take, but I don't take anything that's like something that I need to be on for the rest of my life and something that is claiming that everybody should be on it. It's based on healthcare practitioner recommendations for my specific situation. And even still, I don't know, like, I don't feel comfortable putting my name on anything because I just don't know. So anything that's brainwashing you into like, this is the answer for all of the world, I think in every case, it's usually a cult.
Yeah. And that was one of the reasons why I think it that was almost like a saving factor for me of getting me in like a little bit more, because I saw it as just like an extra supportive kind of thing, but not something that everybody needed, which like my top upline would always try to encourage me to incorporate it into my like practice, into my business. And it just never felt I didn't feel comfortable doing that. And I would verbalize that to her and say like, well, some people don't need it. It wouldn't make sense in this case. And
then they'd probably be like, oh,
that I could never like
everybody needs more.
But because I just saw it as like, yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of in the same way. I see a lot of the nuance within, you know, the nutrition side of things. And so it was never like a scared of not taking it kind of thing, but I can just like imagine that, and that is terrifying to step away from that, stepping away from the team side, but then also for yourself.
Be told it's your nutritional seat belt.
Yeah.
You know, what's a seat belt? A seat belt saves your life.
So hard.
So that's the programming.
Yeah.
I'm cutting off my seatbelt now. Ah!
Jesus, take the wheel.
Why don't we talk about how do we invite somebody to the team? Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah. Anybody want to add a partner or two? Yeah, absolutely. So we were used to creating carts to share with partners in our former office, and it has to work differently now because of where they're accepting their terms and agreement. All of this, as Sean had also alluded to, there's new governances, there's new things that we have to abide by for the PCI. This isn't just Juice Plus being sticklers or having a bad design. They're trying to crack down on all the fraud that's happening, and by giving the full control of everything to the customers, whether it's accepting terms and agreements or paying for their product or changing the ship date, which affects when they pay for the product, we had to comply with all those things. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the design as it is today, okay? But if somebody wants to become a partner...
And I have to say, this past month, it's probably one of the most difficult periods in my 34 years with the company, but equally, I know it's one of the most important periods of our company as we transition from a very old legacy system into the new digital era.
There's a quote once that said, you cannot become what you want to be by remaining who you are. We need to change. And I believe that. We are in change, and change sometimes is tough. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes we have to look at ourselves and say, hey, we have to improve, but we do need to make change because people are changing around the world. Look what's happening with conflict. Look what's happening around the world with disasters. We can't take light of that. What we can provide is hope for people who are looking for better health, who are looking for better support for their families. And as Sean said, once you receive the email, pass it on to your team. Sit down with your teams. Talk with your teams about what needs to be happening, that we're making this progress, that we're giving back. We want you. We want you to be a part of this. Together, we are going to make a difference. Again, we're guaranteeing 100% of your commissions, where you're looking at the average of June, July, and August. Take these details and get it out to your team. We appreciate all that you're doing. We love you very much. We hope to see you soon, very soon. Thank you again. Thanks you guys for being on this call. Have a great day.